Stop! Stop! Don't f***ing do it!
What if I told you that sometimes the most unexpected people become heroes? Picture this. A quiet street turns into a battlefield. A routine day behind bars becomes a life-or-death rescue, or an arrested teen does something so shocking it flips the entire situation on its head. These aren't just your typical crime clips. These are real-life, high-stakes moments where courage takes center stage. Stay tuned, because what you're about to see will leave you questioning just how far people will go when faced with danger. Hero bystanders are always there when you need them. In the busy streets of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a man and woman were struck from behind by a car while riding a motorcycle. The woman was thrown from the bike onto the road, but the man, identified as Alex James, became trapped under the vehicle. As the situation unfolded, nearby police officers quickly began to assist, but they weren't alone. Dozens of bystanders rushed in to help, joining forces with the officers to lift the car and free James. Thanks to this incredible teamwork between police and everyday heroes, James was pulled to safety. He later took to Facebook, overwhelmed with gratitude, to thank everyone who helped rescue him in his time of need. This inspiring act shows how communities can come together to support one another, proving that sometimes heroes are all around us. Good Samaritan AIDS officer in Amarillo, Texas. On a typical summer day in Amarillo, Texas, a routine traffic stop took a dangerous turn. An Amarillo police officer found themselves in a struggle when the suspect resisted arrest. The situation escalated quickly as the suspect managed to fire the officer's gun, grazing the officer in the process. Just when things seemed to be spiraling out of control, a brave bystander stepped in. Without hesitation, the Good Samaritan rushed to help the officer, joining forces to subdue the suspect until backup arrived. High-speed chase ends in dramatic citizen takedown. Officer Carter, a pregnant police officer, initiated a routine traffic stop, but the suspect quickly escalated the situation, refusing to pull over and leading her on a dangerous high-speed chase down Highway 63. The reckless driver swerved into oncoming traffic, rammed a patrol car, and even attempted to hit a bicyclist as he careened through the streets. As officers set up spike strips, the suspect lost control of his vehicle and crashed.
Head on! 146 CENTCOM, he's still going. He's crashing my vehicle intentionally as well.
Emerging from the wreckage, the suspect grabbed an iron rod and struck Officer Carter's car before making a desperate run on foot. A brave citizen, witnessing the chaos, stopped his truck, jumped out, and tackled the suspect. Despite the suspect's efforts to climb into the truck and flee, the citizen held him down until backup arrived. Even as officers arrived, the suspect resisted arrest, kicking, shouting, and attempting to bite the officers.
I'm gonna fucking tase you.
I got him.
I'm gonna fucking tase you.
Cut it the fuck out. Cut it out.
A taser was deployed, and the suspect was subdued. However, his violent behavior didn't stop there. While being transported in the police car, he relentlessly kicked at the doors, trying to break free. Despite his attempts, he was securely restrained and taken into custody. Facing multiple charges, the suspect's reckless actions will now lead to significant legal consequences. Authorities are considering recognizing the Good Samaritan for his heroic intervention. Female police officer in trouble. On Friday, May 28, 2021, around 7 p.m., a female San Francisco police officer of Asian descent responded to reports of a man threatening people near Portsmouth Square. The suspect, 33-year-old Gerardo Contreras, allegedly vandalized rental scooters and shouted, "Chinese people don't belong here." When the officer approached and instructed him to turn around and place his hands on his head, Contreras initially complied. However, he suddenly attacked her, leading to a violent struggle where he pinned her to the ground. During the altercation, a bystander, witnessed the officer struggling and immediately ran to assist, attempting to grab the assailant. Soon after, more bystanders arrived, collectively helping to subdue the attacker and rescue the officer from the assault, and they waited until the backup arrived. Inmate helps jailer being attacked. Inmate TSH. Merritt asked to use the bathroom, but instead of waiting, he suddenly attacked the jailer, swinging at him before grabbing and slamming him to the ground. The jailer called for backup, struggling to fight back. Before reinforcements could arrive, another inmate sitting on a nearby bench made a surprising decision. He stepped in to help. Grabbing Merritt, he assisted the jailer in restraining him until help arrived. Tense standoff ends with arrest. On February 10th, 2022, in Maple Falls, Washington, neighbors called 911 about a man, Joel Burke Young, shooting a shotgun and making threats. Deputies arrived unaware of the danger ahead. Young, a 60-year-old man, was intoxicated and refused to cooperate, even threatening to shoot the officers if they called the police. As tensions escalated, Young shot at deputies, injuring 2 of them. Neighbors armed themselves and helped the wounded officers to safety.
Okay. I'm here.
7-4, welcome.
With more law enforcement arriving, Young's house was surrounded, and after a tense standoff, he was arrested. Both deputies were rushed to the hospital, but the situation was brought under control. Inmates help officers rescue toddler. On a sunny day, officers were transporting inmates between facilities when they noticed a crowd gathering around a parked car. Curious, the officers investigated and found a 1-year-old child locked inside with no parents in sight.
You okay, baby?
As the officers tried to unlock the car, they remembered the resourceful inmates with them.
Yes, thank God! Woo!
Some of whom had carjacking skills. With teamwork and urgency, the inmates put their skills to use, carefully unlocking the car and freeing the toddler.
Honey, was that stressful?
This unexpected act turned inmates and officers into a life-saving team, rescuing the child from a potentially dangerous situation. Citizen heroes rush to save cop. What started as a routine traffic stop quickly turned into a dangerous situation. A female officer pulled over 64-year-old David Kubak for speeding, but things took a turn when he stepped out of the car and refused to comply. When the officer ordered him to sit, Kubak aggressively resisted.
Have a seat.
I'm not sitting. I'm not sitting!
Back off!
Leading to a violent confrontation. Just as the situation spiraled out of control, a brave citizen rushed in to help, tackling the suspect. Moments later, more Good Samaritans, including another woman, joined in to subdue the man. Backup officers arrived, and together, they managed to arrest Kubak. He was later charged with assault and resisting arrest,
You don't do that to a woman. Do you understand me?
but pleaded not guilty, claiming self-defense. Authorities praised the courageous citizens, calling their actions a true act of heroism in a moment of crisis. Hero stops armed suspect. Police received a report about a suspicious man and started looking for him. Unfortunately, they spotted 34-year-old Emiliano Medina walking nearby. When the officer tried to speak with him, Medina made a gun gesture, pointed at the officer's firearm, and tried to grab the weapon. During the struggle, Medina punched the officer and tried to flee, but 2 Good Samaritans quickly intervened. One stopped Medina, while the other tackled him. The officer restrained him, and backup arrived. Medina now faces felony and misdemeanor charges and was found to be under the influence of methamphetamine. The bystander who stepped in. What started as a routine jaywalking stop quickly turned dangerous. The suspect refused to cooperate, brushed off the officer, and suddenly charged at him, leading to a struggle on the ground. The officer was overpowered and unable to control the situation alone. That's when Eugene, a passerby, jumped out of his vehicle and intervened. Without hesitation, He pulled the suspect off the officer and held him down, allowing the officer to regain control and secure the arrest. Good Samaritans save deputy. A routine encounter turned into a fight for survival when a sheriff's deputy in South Whittier found himself locked in a struggle with a man attempting to take his gun. The incident unfolded on a Sunday afternoon, quickly escalating into a dangerous confrontation. As the deputy fought to keep control of his weapon, 3 brave bystanders witnessed the struggle and rushed to his aid. Without hesitation, they jumped in, pulling the suspect away and helping subdue him until backup arrived. Good Samaritan save, CHP officer. A routine stop in Santa Ana took a violent turn when a man charged at a CHP officer, knocking him to the ground and putting him in a headlock. As bystanders recorded, Everardo Navarro, passing by, saw the officer in danger and jumped out of his car to help. He punched the suspect, but the man was too strong, so Navarro called for backup. 2 other drivers rushed in, helping to subdue the attacker until help arrived. Arrested teen becomes hero. In a powerful moment caught on CCTV, a teenager named Jamal Rutledge, awaiting processing after his arrest in Florida, unexpectedly became a hero. Officer Franklin Fulks, who was handling Rutledge's records, suddenly collapsed, clutching his chest in severe pain. Without hesitation, Jamal sprang into action, kicking the security fence and shouting to alert nearby officers. Sergeant Todd Buin heard the calls and rushed over, finding Officer Fulks semi-conscious. Buin removed Fulks' gear, and another officer began CPR. Medics later credited Rutledge and the officer's swift actions with saving Fulks' life. Next Wednesday, Rutledge and the officers will be honored in a ceremony for their life-saving efforts, highlighting a remarkable act of bravery and redemption. Watch this brave bystander, what is done in epic chase. In a dramatic scene in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a Good Samaritan named Ty Clem leapt into action during a police chase. After spotting a suspect fleeing from officers who had stopped him for illegally crossing the street, Ty jumped out of his pickup truck and tackled the suspect to the ground. Officer Josh Metcalf, who was struggling to catch the suspect, praised Ty's quick response, saying, "I've had citizens assist me, but never tackling a suspect that's running away."
I've had citizens assist me, but never tackling a suspect that's running away. So to get all that on body cam footage and just to witness it firsthand, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
The suspect was arrested and faces multiple charges, including resisting arrest and illegally possessing a firearm. Heroic bystander rescues trooper from roadside attack. A Good Samaritan in Michigan came to the rescue of a state trooper after he was attacked on the side of the road. The trooper was pursuing a motorcyclist who crashed during the chase. As he tried to restrain the biker's brother arrived on the scene, got out of his car, and attacked the trooper. That's when a passerby saw the struggle and immediately jumped in to help, assisting the trooper until backup arrived, choking officer's life during arrest. In February 2021, a police officer found himself in a life-threatening situation while attempting to apprehend a suspect. The officer suddenly began choking on his gum, with only the suspect present to offer aid. The suspect, rather than fleeing, unlocked his handcuffs to help the officer. "Come on, stay with me," he urged.
Stay with me, bro. Stay with me. I need you standing now.
Doing everything he could to keep the officer conscious. After saving him, the suspect calmly handed himself back over, showing unexpected compassion and respect. Deputy's life in a heartwarming act of kindness. When Deputy Patrick Edmond nearly collapsed during a routine cell check, At Gwinnett County, a group of inmates noticed immediately that something was wrong. John Queen and his fellow inmates quickly took action, grabbing a chair to help support the deputy, who seemed disoriented. Recognizing the severity of the situation, they used his radio to call for help, while another inmate dialed for emergency assistance. Unbeknownst to Deputy Edmund, he was suffering from a stroke, and their quick intervention very likely saved his life.
But I could see in his eyes, he was staring off into space. He wasn't right.
He was later rushed to the hospital, where he underwent life-saving surgery to remove a blood clot. Now recovering at home, Deputy Edmund has his grateful inmates eagerly awaiting his return. Known for treating inmates with respect, Edmund had clearly earned their trust and appreciation, a bond that ultimately led to this remarkable act of compassion. Homeless man helps the officer. Officer Hardesty faced a tough situation while trying to arrest a man who had punched a store clerk and pulled a knife. Even after using her taser and mace, the suspect refused to give up. Seeing the situation spiral, Crater Turman knew he had to step in. She did everything she could. It was about to get ugly, he said. Without hesitation, Turman tackled the suspect, giving Hardesty the chance to handcuff him. The suspect, Donald Brown, now faces multiple charges, including attempted murder and armed robbery, with bail denied. Inmate attacks deputy. In a dramatic incident at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, an inmate attempted to strangle a deputy from behind using a towel. Initially, one inmate rushed to help the deputy, but soon a group of inmates came together, overpowering the attacker and helping subdue him. The entire episode was captured on surveillance footage, showcasing the unexpected intervention of multiple inmates who turned against the attacker to assist law enforcement in a critical moment. A heartwarming, heroic moment. In Northwest Harris County, police were in hot pursuit of a suspect driving a stolen truck. The chase continued for several miles, but eventually the suspect's vehicle ran out of fuel. As the car came to a stop, the suspect jumped out and ran on foot. That's when 26-year-old Devin, a former track athlete and security guard, saw the situation unfolding. Without thinking, he sprang into action, chasing the suspect barefoot after losing his shoes during the sprint. Devin tackled the suspect with a bear hug, securing him until police arrived. The suspect was taken into custody, and Devin, despite the tense situation, wished him well, hoping he would make better choices in the future. Officer trapped in icy. On February 18, 2022, in Shawnee, Wisconsin, Officer Jeff Whitner was patrolling the highway when disaster struck. As he was driving, a massive pileup of cars appeared ahead, and icy conditions made it impossible for him to slow down in time. Jeff's police cruiser was hit by other vehicles before he had a chance to stop. Trapped inside his vehicle, Jeff was thankfully unharmed, though stuck in the wreckage.
Hey, officer, are you okay?
A little sore, but... I'm a little sore, but I gotta try and get a hold of my supervisor at least.
As time passed, a few bystanders approached to check on him. Despite being trapped, Jeff was determined to help and immediately tried to reach his supervisor. After about 6 minutes, Jeff freed himself from the car and quickly began assisting the other drivers involved in the crash. In total, 39 vehicles were involved in the pileup, and 10 people were injured. Jeff's quick actions in the aftermath helped ensure the safety of those around him. Brave truck driver. A 2-hour police chase from San Diego to Los Angeles ended when truck driver Ahmed Shaban took decisive action. Hearing of the high-speed pursuit involving a murder suspect, he positioned his big rig across the highway, creating an impassable roadblock. The suspect crashed into the truck, allowing police to arrest him immediately. Despite the dramatic moment, Shaban downplayed his role. "I just did what I thought was right," he said. Authorities praised his quick thinking, crediting him with preventing further danger. His bold move gained national attention, with many hailing him as a hero.
Oh no! Oh no! That's it! He crashed!
Bystanders help cop free trapped driver. In Mesa, Arizona, a woman's life took a terrifying turn when a cement truck slammed into her vehicle, trapping her inside as it caught fire. Thick black smoke filled the air, and rush hour traffic backed up for miles. A motorcycle cop arrived and quickly assessed the situation, discovering the woman was still trapped. Good Samaritans immediately tried to break the windows and put out the flames, but the woman was stuck. As they worked, the truck shifted, and the woman fell back inside. Then, an off-duty firefighter on his way to work rushed forward. Without hesitation, he reached in, pulled her from the vehicle, and dragged her to safety. The truck was soon engulfed in flames, but the woman had been saved.
Okay, we got you. Anybody else in there?
The firefighter said his only focus was getting her out of the vehicle.
First thing on my mind, and the only thing on my mind, was getting her out of the vehicle, and once we got her out, was getting her away to a safe location.
The woman, still shaken, was grateful her kids weren't in the car. She was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover fully. Good cops are always there when you need them. Touch the line. Okay, now go back. With playful guidance, a California police officer coached an 11-year-old girl on the rules of hopscotch, showing he's had some practice himself. While they laughed and played, the girl's mom spoke with another officer nearby. Police had initially responded to a call about a suspicious vehicle, only to discover that the mother and daughter had been living out of their car. One officer arranged for housing, while his partner brought a bit of fun and warmth to the little girl's day. The department later shared this heartwarming moment on Facebook, showing how sometimes a simple game can make a big difference. That's it for today. But trust me, there's more insanity where that came from. If you love real crime, instant justice, and shocking twists, hit subscribe and stay tuned for the next wild story. This is Inside Fact, where crime meets karma.